Hello everyone, and welcome to another random video on the internet. Today we are continuing the What If Boros Turned Good series. But really quickly before we hop into it, I have a challenge for you guys. The next part of this series will come out exactly 1 week after this video gets 100 likes. So if it gets 100 likes tomorrow, it'll come out in a week. If it gets 100 likes in a week, it'll come out in 2 weeks. If it doesn't get 100 likes, I'll be sad, but I'll probably release it in like 3 weeks max. But anyways, without any further ado, let's get right into the story. Garo wakes up again, in the same cave that he was carried to by Phoenix Man. The man gasps in shock at remembering what happened to him, how he was ragdolled by some weird bird monster. Garo looks over his body and sees that all of his wounds are gone once again, though there are some scars left on his chest and stomach. What in the world happened after he passed out? Why is he still alive? Many questions run through the hero hunter's mind, but he doesn't dwell on them. Instead, Garo stands up and starts searching for a way out of the cave. While on the move, he thinks over what happened. If the monster wanted him dead, he would likely be dead. Either the bird left him alive on purpose, or it didn't bother to finish him off and just walked away. Both options infuriate the martial artist, but they also both benefit him, seeing as he was able to survive because of them. Soon enough, Garo finds the exit from the cave and dashes away from it. He's back to full health now, so he'll eat up and then continue his hunt for strong heroes. Little does he know that a pair of eyes is watching him from the sky. Phoenix Man floats a few hundred meters above the human monster, with his arms crossed and a smirk on his face. At the same time, in a forest a few dozen kilometers away, a certain ninja is doing his daily training routine. Speedo sounds sonic pants as he finishes a round of kunai target practice on a poster of Saitama's face. Suddenly, he notices a presence approaching, and tells it to show itself. That's when he is attacked from 2 angles by 2 figures. A brief scuffle ensues, but afterwards the 2 attackers introduce themselves as Hellfire and Gale. The 2 ninjas have been laying low ever since the Monster Association was wiped out. They were not in the base during Boros' battle with the Monster Association, so they came off scot-free. However, their plans for world domination have been pushed back quite a bit. They have 2 goals at the moment: to kill Flashy Flash and to conquer the world. They're confident that they could do the former, but the latter is a different matter entirely now. Knowing that there is a creature on this earth who could decimate the entire Monster Association in a single day, Hellfire and Gale realize that they need to get way stronger to be able to combat it. And they also need powerful allies. That's why they have come to Sonic. They explain their predicament to him, and at first he isn't interested in helping them. But when they show him the power of their monster forms, he starts to waver. Hellfire and Gale have kept a couple monster cells they received from Orochi before his death in order to get new recruits for the Monster Association, so they are able to tempt Sonic with the promise of great power that monsterizing would provide to him. In exchange, he is obliged to help them kill Flashy and whoever wiped out the Monster Association. Sonic is willing to give up his humanity, and the 2 ninjas are a lot more desperate in this story compared to the original, so they don't just hand over the cell to Sonic and leave. No, they stick around until he eats it in front of them, and prevent him from cooking it. This means that Sonic is able to fully turn into a monster here. He keeps his human form and is able to transform into a monster at will, just like Hellfire and Gale. The power boost that comes from monsterizing astonishes Sonic, and he starts laughing to himself. However, he does see one issue with his deal he made with his fellow ninjas. Hellfire and Gale want to take down Flashy Flash, but Sonic was actually friends with him in the past during their training days. They've had a difficult relationship since then, but Sonic still doesn't want to take on Flashy in a 3v1. He actually starts planning to double-cross the 2 ninjas as soon as they start fighting Flash, and team up with Flash to beat them. After that, he wants to fight his former friend one-on-one. Of course, he keeps all this to himself for now. Sonic also warns Hellfire and Gale about Saitama, and how much of a threat he is. The 2 ninjas don't really believe him, but they keep this in mind. And so, the 3 ninjas start training together in preparation for future battles. The ninjas are not the only ones training though. Boros works on training Rover to be less destructive in cities and teaches him some basic strategies and battle combos so that they can fight together well. He teaches Rover some commands like cover me or protect civilians. With the dog's high intelligence, he's able to pick these commands up relatively quickly. This is also when Boros gives him a name. For simplicity's sake, let's say he names him Rover. Boros also does some training on his own. A lot of it, actually. He asks Dr. Kuseno to make him a set of armor that could suppress his energy levels even further. And when the armor is made, he starts doing basic training like push-ups, following in Saitama's footsteps. He finds the regular exercises to be boring, and he would much rather train by constantly having limit-breaking sparring matches with Saitama. Unfortunately, he is under Hero Association surveillance, so he can't really reveal his true power for the time being. And hey, with his power being suppressed to a mere 1/100,000th of his true release form strength, and with him getting better at suppressing himself too on top of that, after a few million push-ups he does start working up a sweat. Kuseno also benefits greatly from this, as he's installed a module in the armor that allows him to siphon the power radiating from Boros' body and direct it into his machines. That's how he is actually able to suppress so much energy, by transporting it to his lab and using it to power his devices. Soon enough though, his tech starts overflowing with energy, to the point of overheating. Kuseno thinks of more ways to disperse the power, and an idea quickly comes to mind. He'll just share the power with the entirety of the country. That's right, Boros is being turned into a nuclear reactor to power nearby cities while he trains. And the energy gathered is completely nature-friendly. Jokes aside, I think this actually could happen. One Punch Man is a very wacky series, and this is a wacky scenario, so you know, it works, I think. And Kuseno would probably actually do this, since it would allow Boros to actually gain some benefits from normal training, and dispersing the energy is pretty much the only way to consistently maintain it at low levels. Kuseno either just gets the power to radiate into the air aimlessly, or he uses it for the good of the people. He might even direct some energy into Genos to power him up, to be honest. It sounds fanfiction-y, but all what-ifs are fanfiction at the end of the day, so I think it's fine. Anyways, back to the story. Boros does also train in other ways too. He occasionally spars with Genos. In these matches, he uses his regular armor, which suppresses him to around the strength level of Darkshine. He does have the edge on the cyborg in these matches, but the more Genos fights, the more data and experience he collects. Over time, upgrade after upgrade, Genos eventually receives a form not too dissimilar from his Daedric form in the original series. But that will happen further down the line. For now, let's flash back to the present, around 3 weeks after the battle between Boros and the Monster Association. Fubuki walks into a hospital, intending to meet someone. She checks in and strolls over to the ward her sister has been staying in ever since her big battle with Boros and other high-level monsters. She overexerted herself way too much and took a lot of damage from the continent flip Boros performed that day. It took time, but the Esper is just about ready to get back into the field. Fubuki enters her sister's ward and finds Tatsumaki sitting on a bed.
Hi, how are you feeling? The doctor says I need to stay here for another day to make sure everything's alright, but I feel just fine. If the doctor told you to stay, I think you should do that. Wouldn't want any of your wounds reopening.
Fubuki says as she sits down next to her sister.
I'm fine. I know my own body better than anybody else does. Besides, I've already spent way too much time here. Monsters aren't going to destroy themselves. Who knows how many accidents have happened because of my absence by now? Oh, don't be like that. The S-Class heroes and I are capable of holding the front while you're gone. Many of us have had to work extra hard because of the aftermath of your battle a few weeks ago, but we're managing. There have barely been any incidents whatsoever lately. There's even a new S-Class hero in town. Maybe my battle scared all the monsters off then.
Tatsumaki boasts a bit before focusing on that supposed new hero.
A new hero, you say? Is he any good? Hope he's not just another incompetent weakling trying to earn fame. We have enough of those already.
She frowns.
I think he's pretty good. He's been killing monsters left and right ever since joining the association, and he recently took down a dragon-level monster all by himself. He actually saved my life, too.
Fubuki explains and Tatsumaki smirks a bit.
Good. Seems he might not just be some hopeless moron then. It's always good to have heroes who take their job seriously. Agreed. Though there is one thing that's very surprising about him. What? When I say he took down a dragon-level monster, I don't mean he killed it. He actually beat it into submission and took it in as a pet. What? Who in their rightful mind does that? So much for a competent hero. I assume he got kicked out of the association after that? Well, not exactly. The association had a meeting with him, and he was able to convince them to let him keep the monster. Oh, you've got to be kidding!
Tatsumaki whines.
Seems things really did spiral out of control while I was out of action. And of course, I'm going to have to be the one to clean this mess up again. How does this guy look and where does he live? I need to have a word with him. I'm not sure about where he lives, but I can show you a picture of him.
She pulls out her phone and searches for Boros' name in the Hero Association Heroes list, and finds a picture of his full body. She turns the phone screen to her sister. Tatsumaki glances at the screen nonchalantly. However, just as she does, her blood runs cold. A sweat drop appears on her face. Fubuki notices this sudden change in demeanor.
Is something wrong? No, this can't be. He looks human, but the resemblance is uncanny. But King killed him, right? How the hell would he have?
Tatsumaki murmurs to herself as her face turns pale. This hero. It reminds her way too much of the monster she fought recently. The monster that hospitalized her in the first place.
What's wrong, sis? Fubuki, when did this man enter the association? About a week after your big battle, I think.
Fubuki answers and a vein pops out of Tatsumaki's forehead. Things are lining up way too well.
Where is he now? I told you, I don't know. Where is he? His address should be written in the Hero Association database. Tell me where he is right now.
Fubuki is freaked out by her sister's sudden outburst, but complies right away. After a minute of searching, she finds the coordinates of Dr. Kuseno's lab, the place where Boros is currently staying. She tells her sister the address. Without saying a word, Tatsumaki shoots out of her bed and flies out through the window.
Wait! You shouldn't use your powers yet! To hell with that! We might all be in grave danger! Just sit here and stay away from that man!
Tatsumaki shouts before rocketing off in the direction of Kuseno's laboratory. Near the building, Boros is currently teaching Rover the jump command when he suddenly senses a power approaching rapidly. He turns in the direction of the incoming energy. It feels familiar, but he can't quite place a finger on it. The alien tells Rover to sit down and waits for the power he's feeling to come closer. Within moments, a figure appears in the horizon and quickly closes the distance between itself and Boros before coming to a halt right in front of the alien. Boros takes a look at the visitor and immediately recognizes her as Tatsumaki, the number 2 hero he fought not too long ago. Instantly, he gets nervous. Crap, she's seen his true form before, and she obviously came here to see him specifically since she stopped right in front of him. Does she recognize him from their battle? If so, things could get tense. Boros stands in place awkwardly as Tatsumaki stares him up and down while levitating before him. The woman is visibly nervous.
Can I help you?
Boros asks before realizing she might remember his voice from their fight. Damn it, why didn't he think of that before opening his mouth? Did he say anything to her during the battle? Did she hear his voice? Boros genuinely can't remember. He stands still, hoping that she didn't hear him talking when they last saw each other. Thankfully, the Esper doesn't seem to have any particular reaction to his voice.
Yes, I need to talk to you,
she says while hovering in front of Boros. She then lowers herself a bit and looks directly into the eyes of the alien. She breathes deeply a few times.
My name is Tatsumaki, the number 2 S-Class hero.
The Esper introduces herself calmly. She doesn't want to go in guns blazing just yet. For one, she's in a populated city right now. Second, she still isn't sure if this guy is truly the monster she fought. And third, if he is that monster in disguise. The Esper hates to admit it, but he is stronger than her. If he somehow survived, she would need to get King to come help deal with him. Wait, why didn't she just do that in the first place? While Tatsumaki's having her inner monologue, Boros responds.
I know who you are. You're all over the news. What business does a high-ranking hero like you have with me?
He asks with a slight caution to his tone. Tatsumaki remains calm and composed.
I need to ask you some questions.
I suppose I'll try to answer them as best as I can then.
Tatsumaki breathes in, preparing to state her first question. However, an alarm abruptly sounds off in both of their heroes' communication devices that they have on themselves. The same ones used by the Hero Association to assign missions to the S-Class.
Attention to all S-Class heroes within sprinting distance of the Hero HQ. A giant monster has appeared on the coast of City A. It's estimated to be threat level Dragon or above, and is rapidly making its way to the Hero Association headquarters. Evacuations are on the way. Any and all available S-Class heroes, you must head to the HQ now. I repeat, a gigantic dragon-level monster or above is currently heading toward the Hero HQ. Please hurry to protect it.
Geno suddenly sprints out of Kuseno's lab.
Did you hear that? I did.
Tatsumaki turns away from Boros.
I shall ask some other time.
The Esper says before flying away to protect the Hero HQ. Boros and Genos glance at each other before going after her. And that is where we shall be leaving the story off for right now. What do you think will happen next? What monster is attacking the Hero HQ? Let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully the Fubuki and Tatsumaki voices aren't too bad. I know they're bad, but hopefully they're not too bad, because I can't really hire voice actors right now. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this installment of the series, and I wish you a good rest of the day. Goodbye.